today we expect it to be a fellowship with a difference. And I had sent an email, and the email spoke about the urgency of today, because the Most High has given us a revelation in regards to fleeing out of the midst of Babylon. And many of us were kind of confused as to where to go or what was his intent for us. And it was not quite clear, but we believe he has made it very, very, very clear now. So that's why we ask everyone to be here, so that we don't have to be repeating anything to anyone. All right, I invited a couple of people. Some people say they are not, but whomever is to be here will be here. Whomever it is for will be here. And so I will hand it over to Shamuel, who will, what you're gonna do, you're gonna deliver from what is there from your side, and then, because mine is the kind of the conclusion, I'll deliver mine last, right, Shamuel?
Yeah. I wonder what's going on in everyone's mind. Dun, 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 dun. But anyway, greetings to everyone. I trust we've all been doing well. It's been an eventful week. Although it's not ended, it just began. It feels like it's been summed up. And it all boils down to Yah speaking and making his word very clear. Very, 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 very clear. Now, before I say this, just for our own sake, to be saved from our own self, all right? To be saved from yourself, because once the word comes out, it is the word. But to help yourself, I ask that you empty your mind. Empty your mind with everything that you think you know about Yahuwah, because you haven't figured Yahuwah out yet. 2 days ago, we were sharing, I think we're doing Bible study here, and things weren't that clear. When I say things weren't that clear, not that I went seeking for answers, but we were just studying as we do, and sharing. There were a couple of developments that came about it, but I didn't mention anything to anyone. So I think in the evening, I got a very, very strange call. Very, very strange call. Now, when I say strange, usually when you see people's names appear on your phones, it's people you would expect would call you. Now, this call wasn't one of those. It was really from a blind side. I didn't expect that. And when the call came, I picked up and nothing transpired. It was a very dead call, an empty call. So I was wondering, okay, what is this all about? And I was asking myself a couple of questions. I mean, what was the intent behind the call? Trying to make sense of it, but it wasn't happening. All right. Now this call came from a brother, my brother as well, who initially was on the group. And when I say on the group, was an active member here, a leader as well. And then when he called, he said hello, and I said hi. And then he said shalom, and I also said shalom. Now, usually the conversation progresses to something, isn't it? How are you doing? What's happening? But it became one of those empty calls where there was nothing said, literally. And so I had to say, I'm going to be checking up on you within the week. And he said, wow, okay, that's fine. And I asked, how can I reach you? And it says, this is my number. Take my number, write it down, and you can contact me. The only time you may not find me is when I am in the farm. So I said, okay, I will call him. So we arranged to speak the next day. But it didn't happen. So now that night, when I went to sleep, I had several weird dreams. When I say weird, I mean very violent dreams, like blood everywhere. And I just said to myself, this is not the kind of dream I want to wake up and talk about. So I discarded of that dream. And then I got up and I started praying, and somehow I fell asleep again. So when I fell asleep, I had another dream. And in that dream, I saw my brother, all right? Many of you might know him, Brother Maha. I saw him literally approach me, and he asked me, Brother Shamal, please tell me where this location is. And I looked at him thinking in my head, what is he talking about? What are you talking about? And it's as if he could hear me. So he says, nah, you know it. You know where this location is. And please, please, brother, I just want to know. So as he's going on saying, please, a brother comes and tries to pull him away from me. And then he started resisting that brother and then pushed the brother's hand down and said, no, he knows of the place. Since he's a special one, then he knows Yahuwah is speaking to him. I know that Yahuwah said something to him. He knows where the location is, and he needs to tell us. And I just stood there very confused, thinking, I don't know anything. All I know is that is what the Most High says. When he speaks, we know. When he doesn't speak, we don't know. So I'm thinking, what is Brother Maha saying? What does it mean? You are the special one, and you know the location, and you need to tell everybody the location, because it's like he was very frustrated because he didn't know, and he really wanted to know where this location is or was. So I woke up, and when I woke up, that morning was a morning to behold. We started having the conversation. We had our Bible study, and I think from that conversation came out the Bible study, which I think, what did we even talk about? Yeah, I spoke about interceding for one another this whole week. I spoke about we have to intercede for one another this whole week. And I didn't know why I was saying that, but I just knew that we had to intercede for one another. In other words, we need to forego having people pray for us. Now we need to pray for people, for things to happen for people, especially loved ones. Whoever you say you love, you need to pray for. And we've been talking about love a lot. And one thing Yahuwah has been pressing on us is that for as long as the righteous are alive, there is nothing like a dead situation. Any situation that seems or looks like it's dead, is a dead one, can be resurrected by these righteous ones, because Yahuwah has given them the power to be able to resurrect or to bring life to every dead situation. Whether it has to be with relationships, friendships, anything. So as we speaking, Naomi passes the question and says, have you thought about, have you ever wondered, don't you wonder whether Brother Kazak, I think Brother Kazak and the rest are probably, maybe, what do you think? They're supposed to join us. I'm like, what do you think? And then I laughed because I didn't know what to say to Naomi. I just came to sit in my chair, kept quiet, and I kept laughing. And I started thinking about it. And as I'm thinking about it, Yahuwah began pouring so much on me. And when I say pouring so much, so many confirmations. And it has happened before, but back then I wasn't too sure. I was a bit not fully convinced because, sometimes you need more proof. So I've been quiet for like a year now about it. And I just left it that way. But too many things had happened that I just thought, you know what? Since Naomi is also mentioning it, then it means it's not a coincidence. I need to look at this again. So I started looking into all of this, started gathering over the years the things Yahuwah has been saying concerning all of this. And as I was piecing it together, this is what the Most High is loudly saying to everyone. South Africa is a place he's gathering everyone to. As bold and as scary as this echoed to me, I started thinking of everyone. Literally, I could see everyone's face. As the word was becoming clear, I was seeing everyone's face. I was seeing everyone. The first person that appeared was Brother Kazak. I'm like, whoo, I hope my brother doesn't miss this. And I got scared for everyone because I'm like, someone might doubt the word and it wouldn't be up to me. Mine was to just give it just as it is. So before I spoke to Brother Kazak to tell him this, I called Brother Pedro. No, Brother Pedro calls me as I'm sitting here. I was sitting here in the chair, minding my business, and Brother Pedro called me and he started telling me, brother, I feel lonely. I really miss fellowship. I want to bond with you. And he on and on he goes. And in my, just like this, I'm smiling. So I'm sure he's wondering, why is this man just smiling? So I just stopped him and I said, yeah, thank you for bringing yourself. I think you brought yourself, and it wasn't by your doing. Your footsteps have been ordered. And especially at this time, when this message is bubbling and I'm about to call people, you bring yourself. So receive this word. So I tell Brother Pedro, hoping that he would fumble, and you know what he says to me? He says, let Yahuwah's will be done. We are coming. Yeah, and Brother Pedro was the last person I'd expect to say that. Honestly, I'm telling you the truth. I thought there was going to be a bit of resistance. But the moment I said it, he quickly said, this is the reason why the land I've been trying to negotiate hasn't been working. Quickly, his mind was taken all the way to so many incidences that has stopped him from actually acquiring a land or a piece of land. And he says to me, Brother Shamo, you know what you can do for me? Please, Shabbat, I'm going to call you so that you speak to the congregation here as well. So that they don't think it's coming from me, but that it is directly from a brother I haven't spoken to that I randomly happened to call. And this is what I found. Now, as the day was going on, quickly another word came, and it had to do with why the gathering in Jamaica didn't work out, because that wasn't the land of settlement. That wasn't the gathering place. And the only way this could have happened was that Brother Mahar and Brother Kazak had to be split. And they didn't know that. And I didn't know that as well until now. Because if ever that association would have gone on, then Yah says that there were people that belonged to this flock that wouldn't have made it in. So that had to happen so that it's broken for this fellowship to be open for the other people that are part of this flock to be part or to come on board. And for some of the people here, it is that the faith of those that have embarked on this journey is why now we stand the chance of hearing where this destination is. If it hasn't been for the fact that people had made the choice, the decision to flee, to move, I don't think you who is there doubting would have stood a chance in discovering where it is. And I think some few months ago, I may have said it in passing. I think I told Brother Mahar when we had the fellowship, I said here that, yes, those that are leaving can leave. The women that left, they can leave. But they need to understand what Yahuwah is saying, that it's not everywhere that is safer to be. Because it says all other places, all other lands is sinking sand. Every stand that you may go without the will or the voice or the word of Yahuwah, you actually will be standing on the sinking sand. The only place that is a place of safety, where is a solid rock, is this mount that he has made known, and it's very clear, and you are going to see the details of it. If you think that I'm making this up, just think of how scary it is for me to be sitting here saying such a big thing, because this is not a joke. And on a good day, I'd literally not want to say this. I'd mind my business and stay away. But there's been many, 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 many things that you're going to hear, and you're going to understand why Yah is saying this. There's been many videos, there's been many prophecies, but I couldn't even see it. Although I heard them, I didn't see them until just yesterday or a day before yesterday. So it is made very clear, and I want each man to pay very good attention to this. Because Yahuwah says, I am not the author of confusion. And so when I gather, I know where I gather my own too. And they will all have to be in one mind. It's a place where they all will end up being in one mind, one heart, one ruach. So I'll allow Brother Kazak to continue to take it from here, and then I will jump back in as well again as Brother Kazak goes along. But everything is more than clear. Say, Brother Shamo, are you sure? I'm more than sure. And you wanted the word. This is the word. This is the word for those who believe they really wanted to flee. Now you have heard the word. And the other part about it is that it says it's a very small window that is opened. I'm sure we all remember the sevens that we saw here, the many sevens. Naomi's 7 plus 7 and Brother Dwayne's 7 plus 7. It will all make sense today, so you can understand all of this. All right. So, but exactly, you can take it from here.
Okay.
And
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So, was it yesterday?
Yeah.
Shamuel called me. Shamuel called me, and he said to me, no, before that, on Shabbat morning, I had a dream. And most of you don't know that after Shabbat, I had told Amikai that I wanted to speak with him about a dream. So when everyone left after Shabbat teaching, Amikai was there along with Sister Marlene. And she didn't know that we were there to speak about the dream. So she started speaking, and while she was speaking, the things that she was speaking related to the dream. So I said, well, might as well I tell you the dream, because it sounds familiar to the things that you are saying. But fast forward, I'm going to get back to the dream, but fast forward now to yesterday. Shamuel came to me, called me, and said, he's going to cut to the chase. Yahuwah said, we must all gather in South Africa. And of course, I put up the resistance. I said, but that's not what I'm getting. That's not what I'm getting. And so we had a talk, and he said, all right, he has delivered it, so examine it. And I said, okay, fair enough, that makes sense. Can just examine it and see what it is. But by the time I hung up, it was not long afterwards, the dream hit me. And I'm going to tell you the dream. I'm going to illustrate the dream and show you what the dream is actually saying. And it is more than confirmation. Shamuel says he's sure. I am more than sure from this dream. So let me go and illustrate the dream. Right. So I dreamt that I was leaving from a gated community, and I used to live in a gated community. So I was leaving from a gated community, and I had all my bags packed, and they were piled up outside the gate. And the gate, they had a crossbar that use when the car passes. They lift it up and put it down. I don't know what they call it. And it was a yellow one. And I know yellow stands for trials, right? So out at the gate, someone was leaving from out of the community, and he stopped and gave me a lift. No, it was a bluish green car. The car varied from blue to green. At times, it looked green, at times blue. So he gave me a ride, and I packed in everything in there. But then, little after I started driving, I stopped it and came out. And when I came out, I was left with only one small bag. And when I came out, I was looking a ride again, but I was going to a place. I was on this road called Old Hope Road. And the significance of this hope, we're going to see later on, the significance of this hope. So I was on Old Hope Road, and I wanted to go to a place called Halfway Tree. So this is Old Hope Road up here. And it goes towards a place called Crossroads. Now the names of the places are very important. All right? So this is wrong though. This is Halfway Tree. Let me see. Halfway Tree, Emancipation Park. No, this is wrong. Halfway Tree is more like up here. Halfway Tree is like up here. Amikai can confirm that. This is New Kingston. Towards New Kingston to Hope Road. That's not Halfway Tree. So Halfway Tree would be like up here. So this is where I would be going. All right? So I came out of the vehicle once, and then the same person gave me a ride again in the same vehicle. And he told me that he recognized me by something that I can't remember. So we came and we drove off again. And I stopped him again and came out the vehicle. Now, when I came out the vehicle, I was walking, and I was walking on Old Hope Road, and I reached right here, Stanton Terrace, all right? Because I used to live in Kingston for years, so I know the place. So I stopped at Stanton Terrace, and before we went any further, I looked at the meaning of Stanton. Because in these things, whenever you get clues, you have to dig up the clues. So I looked at the meaning of Stanton, and this is the meaning of Stanton. Stanton as a boy's name is of Old English origin, and the meaning of Stanton is stone settlement. Stone settlement. So I'm going to let Shamuel tell you something about stone settlement. Just tell them about the stone settlement, Shamuel.
All right. So when Brother Kazak called me the second time around, I think after an hour, he mentioned Stanton, and he says it meant what? Old stone?
Stone settlement.
Stone settlement. Now, immediately he said that, Ephraim walked towards me, and he said to Naomi, can you write this down, please? This stone settlement. So I'm thinking in my head, okay, what is he talking about? Whilst I was still talking to Brother Kazak on the phone, and he was still telling me the dream. Then it dawned on me to say, actually, wait. The location where the land is where this settlement is, where this wilderness place is that Yahuwah directed me to go and to secure that land. That place is called Mafikane, which means stone settlement. Now, what are the chances? What are the chances? I am in a different city, a different province. And where the Mosai told me 4 or 3 years ago to go secure is actually a place, he says, this is a landmark where I will gather everyone. And please don't think that I'm saying this because I want to make someone feel good here. Nope. It's too costly for me to come and be pretending here. Now, when the Mosai said to me to go there to get that land, there were witnesses to this. And the first witness being my wife. And then there was another pastor who was also there, curious about why I'm securing this land. And it was actually a Christian pastor that took me all the way through the town, went to the first land, the second land, it didn't work out until we scrambled. And last minute in the evening was when we heard to come and see another man in the morning before this land sufficed. So that area is called Mafikane, which means stone settlement. So when Brother Kazak told me, when he was saying that, I'm like, nah, it gets interesting. It gets more interesting from here. More interesting and more confirmations. Okay, brother, you can continue.
All right. So, yeah, so when I was at Stanton Terrace now, then I decided to turn back and get a bus to my destination, Halfway Tree. Now, the names are important. We have Crossroads, and we know Crossroads is a place of decision. We have Halfway Tree, that is a tree halfway. That means it's not complete. And that was where I was headed. Because we're going to see the name of a tree that is actually equated to the name hope. And that is the full tree, as we're going to see. Anyway, yeah, let me get the, I need to open something to get the name, the meaning of the tree that I'm going to talk about. All right. So what I did, I turned back here, Stanton Terrace, and I started walking up backwards from where I was coming from. And I decided that I was going to take a bus. Now, in my mind at the time, the buses were yellow. And we know yellow again, trials. So the buses, I was going to look a yellow bus to go to my destination. But while going to the bus, I saw a bus stop. Very significant, a bus stop. And I was thinking of just walking on the road, and while the buses were passing, I would stop them anywhere. But then I saw this bus stop. And in the bus stop, there was just one single solitary sign. And that sign, that single solitary sign, had this name on it. Was pointed to the right, and it had the name Willowdean on it. Now, I couldn't get the exact color, but the exact color was a brownish, a more reddish brown than this one. And it was a combination of different shades of brown. And it said Willowdean. Now, I know that there was a Willowdean in St. Catherine, and that threw me off. So here it is now, the map. Stanton Terrace, right to Willowdean. Willowdean is in St. Catherine in Spanish Town. So, you know, I now dug up the meaning of willow when it comes to Willowdean. And I came up with the meaning of willow, let me get it. All right. So the general meaning, several people will tell you that the willow tree gives us hope. That's the basic thing. All right. And remember, I was on what? Old Hope Road. So the willow tree gives us hope, a sense of belonging and safety. So I was pointed to the place of hope, the place of belonging, the place where I belong, and the place of safety. The safety there refers to the shelter from the wrath that is to come. A place of belonging means that's where I belong. And it says, furthermore, the ability to let go of the pain and suffering to grow new, strong, and bold. So it points to a new beginning where we will be strengthened, okay, and bold and emboldened. And it is our path to stability, hope, and healing. So everything about the willow is good. So I was on Old Hope Road, pointed to the hope, to the willow. So I also looked on the meaning of dean, and the meaning of dean is a valley, especially one that is narrow and wooded. So we know that it says narrow is the way that leads to life, right? And also in Isaiah 40 verse 4, it says, every valley shall be exalted, and every mountain and hill shall be made low, and the crooked shall be made straight, and the rough places plain. Referring to the time to come when the Most High does his thing, and the valley, those Yasharal, small Yasharal that is the least among all, will be exalted, and the mountains, the other exalted nations and countries, will be brought low. All right? So when Shamuel spoke with me, I never got this understanding that I was getting now, that I'm going to show you now. Because I was thinking that this willowdean had something to do with Jamaica. But then I was speaking with El Pedro after, and while speaking with El Pedro, I just said to myself, let me do a search. And I did a search. Let me get to the search. And I did a search for cities named willowdean. And as you see here, there is willowdean in St. Catherine, and willowdean here again in St. Catherine. But when you go further down, you see willowdean in South Africa. Willowdean in South Africa. When you check Google, cities named willowdean. And if you go to GeoTarget, this is one of the places that tell you the cities in the world. They don't know about the willowdean in Jamaica. So guess what they tell you? That there is only, all right, let me get it. They tell you that there is one place in the world named willowdean. One place in the world. Are we seeing it? Yeah. One place in the world named willowdean, and that is in South Africa. And when I looked at where it is located in South Africa, we see willowdean is in Gauteng. Now, Shamuel, could you tell us something about Gauteng?
So Gauteng is a city of gold. All right, it's a city of gold, and it is pretty much, let me put it, the capital of South Africa, because Pretoria, which is the main capital, is within Gauteng. So it is a business district, and it was a land where, I'm sure we all heard of John G. Lake. There's a story about a man of God, John G. Lake, during the pandemic of cholera, was performing miracles and all this stuff there. But Gauteng is a land of gold. right? And we all know the color of gold as well, which represents, as Brother Kazak says, trials. Now, there's been several prophecies concerning Gauteng, which has to do with the fact that it has been sold to these Kabbalist people, because there's something very key about this place that for a long time and for many years, I've been wondering, what about this place? But I just couldn't put my finger on it until I heard many of the prophecies which says that the Most High is gathering all of his own to this place as a holding place for this Exodus until now. So Gauteng and this willowdean place is just like 25 minutes from me, from where I currently am. It's like 25 minutes from me. So when Brother Kazak asked me, I was wondering, what about willowdean? Does he want to talk about? I didn't know it had anything to do with this word and this prophecy, but only now do we realize that this is the place, and where I'm actually based, I'm right next to the airport, in the sense that it's almost like Yahweh has placed me as a gatekeeper here, as a doorkeeper, holding this airport or this portal open for all of his own to walk through before it shuts. And this is what all of this is headed towards. Because as I'm speaking to you, where I live, my lease here has expired, but for some reason it's going month to month, and my landlord hasn't said anything. And that's how I know that definitely it's Yahweh that has kept us here to hold the gates wide, so that everyone can pretty much, those that want to get in can get in before it shuts. And hence we're speaking about that window. So yeah, so this is what has to do with Gauteng, the city, the main city here in Johannesburg, with a suburb called Willowdean, which is within Gauteng here, together with Pretoria, which is officially the capital city. But Gauteng literally is a place of mine, and it's a place of gold. Shalom.
Wow. And so I had to call back Shamuel, because like right away the Most High brought up the dream, and it just hit me that this is actually confirmation. Solid confirmation. Because when I get back to the dream, I lived in a gated community. And when I left the gated community, I had a whole house full of furniture. All right. But then I moved and I lived by my mother. So I had a business place. So I stored the furniture in the business place. And then I decided to close down the business and focus on the word full time. And when I closed down the business, there was nowhere to put the furniture. So I had to give them away. So I ended up with minimal, what do you call it now, values, owning minimal values. And that kind of brought me back to the first ride that I took, and then I was left with a small bag. And then the second journey was, we went to, with some brothers, to set up camp. Yes? And then that didn't work out. And that would be the second jump off. Right? Because that didn't work out. And that is why we are here with this group. If that had worked out, as Shamuel said, we wouldn't be here right now. So that didn't work out. And so now the third time, it is pointing me towards willowdean. All right? And as we said, officially, there's only one willowdean in the world. The one in St. Catherine is just a little housing scheme, I think. So there's only one city in the world called willowdean. So that must be the city to which the Most High is pointing us. All right? You can go ahead, Shamwa.
All right. So but Kazak also mentioned a place of, a place of good hope. Now in the whole world, there's only one country that is referred to as a place of good hope, which is Cape Town, Cape of Good Hope.
Oh.
All right. So there's many symbologies here. Now prior to that day, I had posted something on my WhatsApp status, and I see a text, and it's from our sister Anava,
Oh.
and this was very, yes, yeah. Go ahead.
All right, sorry to cut you. When you're finished, we're gonna give Sister Marlene a chance because she had a dream also that matched up with everything that we're saying. All
All
right?
right. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So I posted something randomly. I don't even know what prompted me. I've never done such a thing. I decided to share a picture of my WhatsApp status, and it was me, Brother George, Ephraim, and Solali, and we were hunting for an apartment, a place in the wilderness, a temporal place where we could all be. And I just decided to post that picture. And when I posted it, Sis Anova sent me a message saying, wow, she says, looks beautiful. And I said, yep. And it says, oh, I'm sold. I've been looking to wanting to come to South Africa with me and my husband. I'm like, what? I just kept quiet. I wanted her to say more. And I was wondering, okay, why South Africa per se? So I kept quiet for a little moment. And then Brother Comas comes, drops me a message and says, I'm sold. We are done. We are coming. And I'm thinking, okay, this might sound like a joke, but it can't be a joke. So the following day, when all of these things started coming up, I'm like, wait. So Yah was just quickening me to be alert to this word, South Africa, and the message he wanted to affirm in terms of saying this is the place of destination. And it started in small little funny ways until it all began to make sense. Now, let me share something very interesting. Let me show you what Satan is doing. Satan knows very well that, remember, Satan knows the times more than many of us. Satan knows that South Africa is a place of gathering. All right. So guess what Satan starts just 3 years back or 4 years back? Started this whole xenophobia thing here to scare the elect from ever thinking that there is a possibility that South Africa could be the place. In other words, wanted to stain South Africa so that, man, everybody hates this place and this gathering does not happen. So started a campaign against foreigners and saying, no, foreigners need to get out of South Africa. And then the citizens didn't know why they've been cheering this agenda on. But only now does it make sense as to why there had been that constant battle against foreigners. And this only makes sense because Satan indeed is aware that South Africa is the holding place for the elect. And just a year or 2 years ago, I was walking with a brother who were in the wilderness there, looking around, and then he says, let us take out money and let's buy tickets for Brother Kazak and all of them to come down to South Africa. Let us fly them here. This is the land of restitution. This is what Brother Vuyo said to me. And I'm like, at that time, I didn't get it because I'm like, hey, no, I've already spoken some time back to Brother Kazak and it was, I think they were giving the swap. So he was like, no, he doesn't want to take that swap. So only now does that message as well that Vuyo emphasized also comes down to say, you see, it had been brewing, but Brother Shamoy, you weren't alert. You weren't paying attention to the word and you weren't looking at the signs. And this is how it all boils down to now that all of this is confirmed and is affirmed. And like, hence I'm saying there is more proof than what it is. All the colors that Brother Kazak is mentioning there, you will see it as we show them to you. Bro, you can go ahead.
Yeah, so Sister Marlene, I got a dream which is more confirmation again, because when, as I said, when I was telling the dream to Amikai and Marlene, she was like, "Wow, but I got a dream this morning about Willow." I was like, "Wow, that is why you're here." So while I was telling the dream about Willow, she gets a dream about Willow. Now tell me something now. What are the chances of this happening? It cannot be coincidence. Marlene, are you here? Could you just give them your dream, please?
Shalom, everyone.
Shalom, sis. Shalom.
So, you know, like Brother Kazak said, when he was saying, you know, about Willow, I was like, wait a second. You know, and I had to interject. So I was like, I had a dream about Willow in the morning. So my dream was I was in this house. It was nothing like what I've ever seen. And I said something to a friend and, you know, we joked it off. So I stepped outside. And when I stepped outside, I saw this.
Sister Marlene.
Yes, yes.
Before you go there, tell them about the WhatsApp and the thing. That's important.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. So I said to my friend, I said, she was sitting on the couch and I said to her, man, as soon as I looked at the picture, you just changed it on me. And she said, I lie. And I said, no, it's true. And she was like, oh, and we chuckled. So I walked outside. And when I walked outside, I saw this beautifully manicured lawn, right? And I looked and I saw some willows. And I was like, because it was like one here, one over there. It was just, you know, it was like what you would see as a child what heaven would look like. Seriously, everything was just well placed. But there was something very strange about it. It had some of the leaves, some of the willows had fall colors. It had orange, it had purplish, it had, you know, pale green, and then another side, it had white streaks, you know, like winter, you know, like snow fell on it or something. I don't know. It was just white with green. And then I said, wait a second, why does it feel like spring? But it's August, isn't it? And this is me thinking, you know, in my dream. I was like, but it's August. And I felt this spring-like feeling in my face. And I was like, wow. And then I kind of stepped back. I didn't turn around. I stepped back. And then I woke up.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, thanks. All right, the most important thing about that, one of the most important thing about the dream is that the seasons were reversed. And remember where we live, Shamuel, and where South Africa is, the seasons are reversed.
Yeah.
So when she was looking at the willows, she was looking at the willows now in South Africa and where the seasons are actually switched from where she is. All right? Yeah. And the other hint again is the color green. Remember I said the car was green?
Yeah.
Switched from blue to green.
Yeah.
Which of course are in the colors of the South Africa flag anyway. So yeah. She spoke about the person from WhatsApp. The WhatsApp colors are green. Now the person who she was speaking with, her last name is also green.
Oh my God, yes.
All right. Yes. Yeah. That's her name is green. And she said the beautiful willows are green. And the well manicured grass is green. So again, and we know that green is a positive color. Green is obtained by mixing yellow, the trials, with blue, the word of the Most High. Therefore, the biblical meaning of the color green is immortality. And we know that that is what we are searching for. That is the kingdom, eternal life
Yeah.
in the kingdom. All right. So yeah, that dream is also very significant. Um,
Wow.
yeah. Go ahead.
So there has been many prophecies and many words that I've received. But yesterday, when they say if confidence can go any higher, I'll tell you that my confidence over this one is way higher than any other confidence I've had. Not that I haven't had confidence, but this word is overly sure. And even with the way I stopped Brother Kazak in his tracks, that shows me, because I never come out that way. And when I spoke to Brother Pedro, I was literally, in fact, with Brother Pedro, I was more ready for him in terms of to be able to use the word to keep him right there. But he did the opposite thing. He gave me an opposite reaction by telling me that yes, it was also almost as if he was looking for that yes. Now, between Brother Maha calling me and saying nothing, and me seeing him in the dream, that alone finalized the whole thing. And when Naomi just prompted my spirit to it, and I sat down to look at this carefully, I realized, no, this is what it is. And bro, I would love to play this video so that everyone can hear it and be able to align with it. I want you to hear. Yeah, go ahead.
I put two. I put some snippets from Kerry-Ann's videos together. I don't know if you.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, that's it. No, then that's it.
Yeah,
That's it.
I'm gonna play it.
That's it. So,
Yeah.
so that's exactly the word, and it's very. Look, there isn't that much window. I wish I could say, but I just want to press on the urgency on this one. There was a time when I said to Yafa, get your passport ready. Either way, even if you don't know where you are going. And I was hoping that many people will catch it and also just get a passport and put aside, because I didn't know what I was saying then. But then this all aligns to, man, you have to be in the ruach, because you would have gotten that conviction to just get a passport and just keep around you. Because now the processes of passports have become so difficult and it's deliberate. That tells you that there's something really going on. It is very deliberate. They will stall you. But now, if this is the word of the Most High and we surely believe in Him, then trust you me that emunah, faith and prayer, will speed up things, even if it has to do with visa applications and all that, will speed up things and will get anyone that really desires to be here. Because now it's like a qualifying criteria. Yah is the one that is sifting out who is to come and who is not to come. So I'm just saying to everyone that, please, as you are hearing this, like, just be on the internet and be typing passport office requirement, how long it takes to fast track all of that information before you even decide. Whilst you are proving what I'm saying is true, just be in the process of what? Of working on these documents. All right. That's all I'm saying. So please, this is what it is. I'll leave it to Kazak to continue to expand on this as well. Shalom.
Yeah. You're saying, Marlene?
Yeah, a couple of years ago, I had a dream that Brother Kazak and me and a friend of mine, a former friend of mine, Sister Yehudith, she was there. All of us were there, and the kids were happy. Everybody's kids were there laughing and everything. And she said to me, you know, sis, I believe that, Brother B, at that time we used to call him Brother B, he's gonna go to Africa to preach. And, that's where the Most High is gonna take us. And I was like, oh, please, me, the only time I'm going to Africa is on a vacation. I'm not going there in this COVID time, et cetera, because it was just when COVID busted. And I was like, nope. And she said, watch, just watch. She said, just watch. That's where the Most High is taking us. See?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So said.
Wow.
So said, so done. All right, so there is a prophetess that was prophesying this, and I had stopped watching her. And okay, we have some. Before I go for any further, I see too many hands. Nikita.
Shalom, everyone.
Shalom.
You know,
Shalom.
interesting. I hope everybody can hear because my voice is still hoarse from being ill. You
Yeah, I
know,
can
as
hear
you
you.
talking tonight, before I fell ill 2 weeks ago, right? I had a dream where I went this wedding, right? And I was talking to the bride, and I was telling her, girl, don't wear that green shoes there. Let me and you switch shoes. And I give the bride my green shoes, and she give me her green shoes. And I tell my husband, then I dream I go a wedding, and the bride had on this green shoe, and I telling she, what you do with that shoes there? And me and she switched the shoes, the bride. And I was like, what kind of dream is that? How the hell I go a wedding and take the bride shoe? And the bride will tell, and my husband telling me, girl,
Yeah.
you know what that mean now? And me just say, see me must see something, I must see went to bed with my belly too full or something. And I went and I forget about the dream because I didn't see no significance. It's as though you thought that it's a while. And talking about this green, is why I remember this wedding I was in and me and the bride switching green shoe. So now I want to know what the dream means because I was really confused with this bride and me and she switching shoes, but I know the shoes was green because I was telling she, give me your shoes and I will take your shoes, and it's bright green shoes. I was confused because who wears that to a wedding? A bright green shoe just out of the blue, sir? So I want to know what that dream means. No, because I don't remember.
Yeah.
No,
who wears a green shoe to a wedding?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if you could find the meaning, but I now remember that dream. So if you could puzzle it, put it together for me, that would be really good because I don't remember that as you talk.
Let me tell you straight up what comes to me. Now your feet, all right, is what you use for what? What do you use on embarking on a journey, walking?
Yes.
Now the green on your feet just means a new start, being led to a place of a fresh start. All right.
Mm-hmm.
You've ever heard of the phrase, he's turned a new leaf?
Mm-hmm.
All right. This is what it is. So it just emphasized new beginning, walking into, and Brother Kazak emphasized on the green salvation, mortality. This is what it's about. Your feet being led by the Ruach to a place of a fresh start. That's what I'm gathering from this.
So what she intended is not what she ended up with, right? Because she came with her shoes and then she switched. I think that has to do with the land that you have up there, Nikita. Land is green, right?
Yes, it is green, yes.
It is green and it's in the
So I
window.
must have to give up the land I have and go to a new one. Well, my oh my, I just had to pay attention to my dreams.
All right, so I think Kamash was up before Simone. Kamash.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh no, bro, before you go on, 1 second, hold on.
Hold on,
brother Kamash. So, Sister Nikita, I hope you're listening. So you got the land.
What is that?
You got the land where you are, right?
Yes, we have your own land in the mountains.
Good.
Yeah.
And now here comes this other land, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So now you are stuck on the
switch
now
that.
there was a switch. Yes. So you were at the crossroad. Now let me show you. Yes. You were at the crossroad, and Brother Kazak mentioned the crossroad. Now look at the South African flag if you can see it. You see the green?
Yes. Yeah. Oh my, that is what I dream.
All right.
You see the two roads now leading into one?
Oh my God, I just dashed that away.
So it's a two greens leading. The two greens leading into one.
Into one. leading into one. So there is no more confusion, there is clarity. And it has to do with a fresh start. And that's it. It's how clean it is. You like with Yahuwah, you might think it's
Our Father is so great. All praises to the Most High.
Oh my gosh. Well, thanks for the interpretation because I was really confused. So I know me clear part now.
All praises to the Most High. All right, so, all right, Kamash, go ahead, please.
No, to piggyback on what Brother Samuel said, because what he was talking, right? I was like, I hope he don't say nothing, and then he said something. But the funny thing about it, Anava was home and I was at work. So I just was going through my status and I said, well, where is this? And then I saw the picture with Brother George, Samuel, and everybody else. And I was like, I didn't know what, I was just feeling the warm feeling that you get, like it's time, you know, that kind of way. And then I look at it and then I end up sending a message to Anava and I say, you see Samuel's status? She say, no. And then she went to check it and she say, I don't know what she said, but she had a conversation and then she sent me the conversation that you both had. And I was like, it's the same way I felt. But the thing is about it, the reason why I say it, it's because we were making plans to go to Jamaica. We were making plans to go to Jamaica, so we was researching Jamaica, we was trying to find the best places to go in Jamaica as like a vacation.
Yeah.
And then we was even planning to go and visit, you know, Brother Kazak, and who else was there. But then I saw your status, and immediately I saw your status, and like my mind just changed. I don't know why my mind just changed completely.
You're done with me?
It comes up. My mind just changed, and I don't know why, but my mind just changed completely. Like, go Jamaica? No. It don't feel right. Even though it seemed right, it still didn't feel right after I see the status. I just was captivated by the Most High, I guess. Shalom.
and funny enough, as you talk about seeing the status, Shamuel sent me a picture with the entrance to the place.
Yes.
And the sign that I saw, willowdean on, it is exactly the same colors as is on the wood in the place, a brown variations, all different variations are the same different wood that is in the picture.
Wow.
Yeah, because Anava was even asking if this is real. Like if you guys were searching or hunting for places to go. We didn't think about or they just went hiking or anything. The first thing came to mind, if that's land that you guys probably seeking and there's a building in the back and all kinds of things. Yeah.
And let me tell you, before I get the hands, let me give you another testimony as well. Where in regards to this, because everything just seems to just be fitting in. I was supposed to get a land from my brother. He has 2 pieces of land, or 3 pieces, and he was giving me a choice between 2 pieces. So he has a caretaker for the land. And would you believe that I fell sick? And I was sick for the whole time. I called the caretaker. He told me that he was sick, and he would tell me when he was better, when I can go and look at the land. So the land was there available. Any one of them I want, I could get. And I just could not, he just would not call me. And I felt so sick. I didn't even call him because I was too sick to travel. And so yesterday, when I spoke to Shamuel, and what should I say? And we confirmed everything. My recovery rate has sped up quickly. So it felt as if the sickness held me down, because if I was not held down, I would have gone to that place and found the man and have gone on the land. So it seems as if the Most High was having me down because he knew that if I was up, then I would have gone to the land.
Wow, yeah. Yeah. Wow. Wow.
It's a whole lot of revelation, whole lot of Simone.
Shalom, shalom, everyone.
Shalom.
I just wanted to say about 2 days ago, because we went down to Bournemouth, which we just went basically a few days away. And whilst we were sort of sitting down and just relaxing, somebody, there was a little boy, and he fell down anyway and he hurt his leg. And after a while, so I went to see if there's anything we can do to help. And the woman just kept on saying, and she said about 3 or 4 times, "We're from South Africa, we're from South Africa." And I was thinking, why are you telling me you're from South Africa? Yeah, because I didn't understand. She kept on saying, "We're from South Africa, we're from South Africa." I was thinking, I don't need to know you're from South Africa. I'm actually trying to help your boy, you know, because he was hurt. So that actually got me thinking, to be honest. And then, you know, because I was thinking about Naomi and I was thinking about, you know, obviously the whole family had gone. So that was really in my head. But then when you said also about Willow, yesterday I was reading the Shepherd of Hermas. And the one thing that really caught my mind was on the 8th parable, where he said, then he showed me a huge willow tree overshadowing plains and mountains, and under its shade were assembled all those who were called by the name of Yahweh.
Oh.
And when he said willow tree, and I was like, wow, that was yesterday. You know, just basically just reading through that. And then also when Sister was talking about, you know, her dream about wedding, I remember a couple of years ago, I had a dream, and again, it was for a wedding. I was getting ready for a wedding, and I had to change to a green dress. So when she said, I was thinking, oh my goodness, all of these things basically just been lining up. Because I remember saying, I said to my husband, you know, day for yesterday, I said, well, what if Yo wanted to take us to go someplace completely different? And he said, oh, we have to get visas. And I'm thinking again, why are you saying visas? Why are you thinking when I said away, we have to go somewhere with a visa? So yeah, so all these things basically are making sense.
All praises
and they're aligning themselves.
All praises to the Most High. Daniela.
Yeah.
Yes, shalom, family. I'm going to be quick with Nikita's dream. When you said bride, Nikita, my first thought went to the 10 brides or the 10 virgins, the 5 foolish and the 5 wise. And it's almost like you've swapped your shoes with one of the foolish to become one of the wise, if that makes sense. Do you see where I'm getting with that? It's almost like the assembly before.
Yes,
like you swapped shoes. You swapped shoes with someone in the assembly before. You took someone's shoes. You took a bride's shoes there, because they in Scripture it refers to the assembly as Yahusha's bride.
Yeah. Wait. Hold up.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute. Wait. Has anyone got the Shepherd of Hermas?
Simone
have you got it? Simone, you can. Anyone that has it should open to parable 8.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
He showed me a great willow overshadowing plains and mountains, and under the shadow of the willow, all have come who are called by the name of Yahuwah.
Willowdean.
Nah. That shivers just now.
That's what I was saying. That's why I said I read that just yesterday. That's why it just made the impact that it was the willow tree, huge willow tree.
Huh. Wait. Hold on. This is not a coincidence. I mean, this is done. I don't really think we should add on to Yahuwah's word right now. Look, pay attention to this. Let me start again in case you didn't hear it. Right? Let me reiterate this one. Let me bring it out again. All right. Now pay attention. It says, he showed me a great willow overshadowing plains and mountains, And under the shadow of the willow, all have come who are called by the name of Yahuwah. And by the willow there stood an angel of Yahuwah, glorious and very tall, having a great sickle, and he was lopping branches from the willow and giving them to the people that sheltered beneath the willow. And he gave them little rods about a cubit long. And after all had taken the rods, the angel laid aside the sickle, and the tree was sound, just as I had seen it. Then I marveled within myself, saying, how is the tree sound after many branches have been lopped off? Please, people, pay attention. This is important. The shepherd saith to me, marvel not that the tree remained sound after so many branches were lopped off, but wait until thou seest all things, and it shall be shown to thee what it is. How many branches were cut off? Many. Many. This is not a time of doubt. This is not a time of Brother Shamor trying to sound, trying to put up good speech. This is true. This word is true. And I don't know how many times I'm going to have to say this to you. But Yahuwah is not begging any man. Please pay attention to this. Yahuwah is not begging any man. Because Yahuwah knows those who really have the desire in the heart and those who are really led by him. He knows they will do everything it takes beyond the excuse to see themselves within this will of Yahuwah. Because he says the only reason why he has made this known is because of the heart's posture of his people. Those that have embarked on this intent to flee. And the Most High is forgiven. The first 7 was the open door, which God closed. The second 7 was the perfection 7, which was the second chance. And I'm sure we remember Naomi saw a bus, right?
Yes.
And you are going to hear this bus throughout many of these prophecies. So this is true. You've heard the angel standing underneath the tree doing what? With a what? With a sickle. Do you remember what Yahusha said in Matthew? He will send his angels to do what? To gather the what? The chaff from what?
From the wheat.
From the wheat. It is already happening. It is already happening. It's not a coincidence, all these teachings and messages we have been hearing in all the past consecutive weeks, which had to do with denying self and cleansing our what? Cleansing our mind, renewing our minds, denying ourselves and taking up the stake. Because without it, this is a part where I know many will not be able to embark it. There's going to be many excuses that are going to come. All the impossibilities. Oh, I am not worthy. I'm not capable. Oh, but I've already set this up. Oh, but many is going to come. And this is how you're going to know where your heart really is, if you are truly led by the Ruach. Because remember, the Spirit bloweth where?
Where it listeth.
It goes anywhere. He will go anywhere, and you have to be like the Spirit, so you are carried away to exactly where he wants to lead you to. So the moment you get comfortable with a particular place, your faith is going to be wavering when another word comes to say, do what? Flee. Only the one who's letting, who let it, only the one who is doing all of this is the one that can tell us that you are in the destination. For as far as you haven't heard that, do not get comfortable. You need to trust in Yahuwah with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding, but in all your ways, do what?
Acknowledge him.
Acknowledge him. And he shall do what?
Direct thy path.
This is a part that we are talking about. It's very literal. And if you don't believe it, go take the shepherd of Hermas and read parable 8. Read the whole of it. Read the outcome. Look at the outcome and look at it for yourself so that it doesn't seem like Brother Shamal is making this up. I had not read this book. I haven't seen this book. The Ruach is pinpointing through, because when we are gathered, this is what the Ruach will do to affirm his word. All the pieces fit together. I don't think, really, if there's someone that is still doubting, that I'm not sure what you're looking for. Maybe you're waiting for an angel to be next to you and whisper to you. But if you cannot believe the word that is before you, then I doubt seeing an angel will make any difference. So please, family, it's clear. I said it initially. I said, I am more than 100% sure. I am convicted and I'm convinced that this word is Yahweh's final word to move everybody into his to align everyone. I am the grapevine. All right, continue, bro.
You want me to put the icing on the cake with the prophecies?
Yes.
All right. All right, let's go.
But I see.
Yeah, go ahead.
Atara was saying from Sunday, before you had the dream, before everything, she get it in her rock, say South Africa. She get it in her rock, says South Africa must go.
All praises.
So
right.
All praise to the Most High.
Love the confirmation. So this is a prophetess who has been predicting the first. I combined two videos quickly together. The first one was from February, and the other one was like, I think 2 days or 2 weeks ago, one of them. So let's go with the first one. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. You're gonna have to show your allegiance to the Most High.
Yeah.
If you don't go hide out in the city, if you don't go hide out in the mountains, in the cave, if they catch you in the city, your choice is gonna be the gallows or the mark of the beast. That is it. That is your only choice. Not straddling the fence. Right now we can straddle the fence with the you know what. But when that comes out, horrible stuff. You need to make sure that your anchor is holding in Christ. There's a couple of visions that I had concerning South Africa, the second Odus, all right? All right, so the second Exodus, I'm going to refer to it as a second trip to yonder, all right? Okay. I had a couple of visions concerning South Africa and the second trip to yonder. The visions are true. In one of the visions, the latest vision that I had, the angel of the Most High bought the children of Yasharal. Sorry, the children of Yasharal that's scattered all over the world, in diaspora, everywhere you can find them. The angels of the Most High brought us into South Africa before we go over to the second trip to yonder, before we go to we call it the wilderness, all right? And while we were there, and while we were going there, the angel said we are going to stop over in South Africa. Now that vision parallels. I want you to listen to me very carefully because the visions are true. That vision that I had where the angel said you're in South Africa with all the Yasharalites up there in the mountains, because that's where we were. Very mountainous place where you could overlook the sea. That's where we were. You could see the sea in South Africa. But then I had another vision before that, way before that. I think I had this vision about 2 years ago, where the Most High, I was in South Africa, me and the angels, and we were waiting for the go-ahead from the Father, from Hahaya. And he said, go and knock on all my children's door. This is in South Africa. And tell them to get ready. They've got to go. This is the second Exodus. So do you understand what I'm saying? You can see that the visions are parallel. It's not like this difference, not like, okay, Lord, give me a vision, you know, we're in Zimbabwe. No, it's still South Africa. So there's something that's going on with South Africa. So So the holding place where we've got to wait for transport, so to speak, we've got to go to South Africa first, stop at South Africa, and then we're going to pass through Antarctica to get to this wilderness place where the Most High have. Because that's what I saw in the same vision where the angel told me that we are in South Africa on the mountain stuff, right? Okay. Then I had another vision. Well, it's not another vision. Well, it's the vision where the Most High told the angel and myself to go and knock on the doors. We're in South Africa, and he gave me the name of a place. He gave me the name of a place to tell the people to pack their bags and go quickly, run very, very quickly. In that same vision, while we were waiting for the go-ahead from the Most High, there were soldiers invading South Africa. And it is going to happen. South Africa will be invaded. Not because of their goals or their rich resources. No. Nothing to do with that. I had a vision, a quick vision, this morning. Very, very quick one. But when I came out the vision, the Lord allowed me only to remember what I need to share. All right? So, in this vision, brothers and sisters, it was like a lot of us was at a bus station or something like that. But when you look at on the road had water on it. So the buses or the transport that was picking up people from this bus station, they could both drive on water and on the road. And I remember, brothers and sisters, that one of the transport buses stopped right beside where we were standing with a lot of people, and they were getting people on. And myself and somebody else was the last person to get on the bus. But in this bus, you couldn't have a lot of people. It wasn't a big, massive carrier. It was about 12. Because I remember we're counting about 12 of us in this bus. And the guy that was driving the bus, he was so clear. He said that we are going to go to South Africa. And you've got to stay there and wait. Just like that. So when I look outside of my window and I saw all these people waiting, I said to the guy, I said, what about all these other people that's waiting? And he said, don't worry, the bus is going to come and pick them up. That's what he said. He said, the bus is going to come and pick them up because everybody needs to be in one location. And it is South Africa. Because how he explained it as well, he said that there's ships coming for us when we go to South Africa. So the journey has ended. And then the vision ended. So when I came out the vision, I knew that this is the second trip to yonder. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. The second Exodus. All right. Second one. So remember, I gave a vision. I don't lie. And he's warning. He's really warning. He doesn't lie, brothers and sisters. Because remember, I gave a vision and I told you that the angel took us to Africa. I don't know where in Africa I was. I could not tell you. And I said that while we were waiting, we were like on a mountaintop and I could see the sea. And there were loads of ships coming in to come and get us. This is the trip to yonder. This is a place of safety. So now that the Lord has revealed that it is South Africa, brothers and sisters, South Africa is where we're going to go to wait for the final trip to the wilderness. The Lord doesn't lie. He does not lie. So I believe angels, I don't know how they're going to do it, but we are going to be gathered in one location first. It's a lot of people, isn't it?
Right, that's it.
Now, before you go ahead, the Most High gave this vision to this prophetess. But the Most High knows what he's doing, because the Most High knew that she would be reckless if she was given the exact name of the true location. She was going to put it out there, and guess what? The enemy now directly would pinpoint that which Yahweh is doing.
Yes.
So look at the codes and look at the riddles in this. She says she saw a mountain that was facing what? The ocean. All right. And then she saw what? Ships coming on that ocean. Now, just yesterday as I was sitting there, the Most High was saying to me, can you see exactly what is going on? And I have put it that way because only the wise will understand what she just said. In her first vision, she forgot. The Most High made her forget the name of the place when she woke up from the dream. So she said, oh man, I've forgotten. I knew the name in the dream. I knew the name and I've forgotten, but we were gathering people in South Africa. And then the second time around, she says, no, she is very sure it's a mountain that is overlooking what? The ocean. Now, this is what Yahweh says. Says that mountain is that stone what? Settlement. So the wicked is going to look at it and be looking at Cape Town. And if you, in fact, go and look at the comments underneath that video. The enemy is rushing to set up what? Camp there by Cape Town, the Table Mountains, that is overlooking the sea. Now, the sea that represents the people from the nations that the Most High is gathering to bring to that stone settlement. And Isaiah says, it is a ship that flies that will bring them. In other words, an aircraft. So everything there seems like it is easy to understand, but only the Most High will make sense to what he is doing. So that mountain there represents Zion, represents Yahusha, who is that solid ground that we are going to be dwelling on. Now, the land that the Most High has provided has nothing to do with mountain. It's a flat land, literally. But a flat land that faces a river. So it's a total opposite. And that very waters there is a symbology that this is a place of dwelling. Because I've given you all the clues there, but I'm doing it in the other direction, not in this direction. In other words, the enemy or the enemy camp has been fooled. So everybody is thinking there in Cape Town, where else is the other direction and in a place that is understated. So this thing is very significant. It is absolutely and overly significant and is true.
Can I read the prophecy in Isaiah to which I was brought with the willow? Because the willow refers to water. And there's a prophecy in the book of Isaiah that matches exactly everything that was in the dream, what in the dreams, and the promises of the willow. It is such a beautiful, beautiful promise. The book of Yasharal, chapter 44, verse 1. Can you read it, please, Shamuel? You're a better reader than I.
Okay. Yet now, hear, O Jacob, my servant, and Yasharal, whom I have chosen. Thus saith Yahuwah, that made thee and formed thee from the womb, which will help thee. Fear not, O Jacob, my servant, and thou, Yasharal, whom I have chosen. For I will pour water upon him that is thirsty, and floods upon the dry ground. I will pour my spirit upon thy seed, and my blessing upon thine offspring.
Even our children will be barakah. Continue.
And they shall spring up as among the grass, as willows by the water courses.
As what?
As willows by the water courses.
Water courses. Remember you said that it is a flat land, right?
Yes.
And willows Willows by the water courses. Willows are always by the water, and the land is by the water. And the word dean, as we said, refers to a valley,
Yeah.
and a narrow valley.
On the 1st of August, I was fasting and praying. I was in prayer. All right. And as I was praying, I think it was the second day into the prayer, the fasting prayer. And I heard the Most High say, write this down. And I know that voice too well. For years now, it's been that voice that always comes to bring the word. And then he said, you will hear from me in 3 days. And I remember speaking to Brother George, who was in the UK at that time, and I told him something. I told him a problem, and I said, in 3 days, Yahuwah says I will hear from him. But I'm thinking here, what is he going to say to me? I don't know what he's going to say to me. But anyway, I look forward to it. So I came back, me and Brother Ephraim were sitting there thinking, hey, 3 days. But Ephraim says, I can't wait to see this third day. So on and on it went with suspense. And then another word came in. This is what the word says. All right. To those that I gave their word to, I told others about it as well. Then the word, this was the other part of the word that I want you to know. It says, at the appropriate time, all this will make sense to you. Just keep on trusting and obeying. That's what Yahuwah says to me. Do not look back, nor resent anything. That's what he said. So when he said this, I'm like, wow. And then another word comes and says, I am going to do what no man has ever seen before. In the midst of the chaos, I will show my salvation and recompense all evil on the earth. This is the word Yahuwah gave to me. I'm going to do what no man. Now, do you know where my mind was? My mind was on my own personal problems. It wasn't about any of this. But the Most High ways not being our ways. He's saying something that pertains to something big is doing. I'm thinking of my own issues. And I was so shocked yesterday when all this was happening, and it was happening so fast that it's like there is no time. There is no more time. The window is very small, and those who love me will act now. Just say the words. And I bet you I didn't waste time. Just a few hours right into receiving the word, I started making phone calls. And I was confident about this one. Even before the other things, the confirmation and all that, I was very sure about this one. And the way my brother Pedro also received it, and just by he calling, it was as though the Most High had led him to come and to just hear and to do. He was very expectant. It sounded like it. Because what he was telling me had to do with communing together. Because it's like if we are together, there is so much we would understand and know. Not knowing that this is a word that he had given and that he needed to also hear. So the angel was underneath the willowbrook tree or the willow tree with a sickle, still cutting down branches. Now, if we remember the book of Exodus, what it says about the drop as compared to the wave, then we would understand that Yahuwah is not a respecter of persons. Right now, there's a season where it's either you believe or you don't believe. It's either you're ready to walk away or you're ready to stay. It's either you're not willing to give up on anything and just be a talker. Now's the time for each man to embark on what their treasures are, to walk towards it. If your treasure is in Yahuwah, you would automatically find in your heart inclining there, looking for all the avenues to make this possible. I don't know how. I don't have the answers. But Yahuwah knows when it comes down to this, his sheep will hear his voice and they will move. So, shalom.